Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a Friday night with the fellas. Always here, Prim and Proper Sports. I'm your host, Sonja, joined by, let me introduce this gentleman first because it's been forever. Fellaz Kev. Kev, welcome back to the
What up? What
platform.
up?
So good to see you. Of course, an Atlanta Falcon fan,
Yeah,
so
good to see you.
you guys know why he needed a sabbatical. Of course, JTrain, James Martin, New Orleans Saints, brother from another mother. Kevin is too. And the producer behind all the beats and all the explosive things you see here, and our nice co host as well, Brian B. Strilla. Good evening, Brian. How are you tonight, B?
I'm dope.
What up, though?
Dope.
And shout out to Pink Fanfur. Pink, thanks so much for having me on your platform just a few minutes ago. It was great to sit down with Wild Man Bill, I think his name is, some delusional Buffalo Bills fan that had a lot to say, but very little to back up once I pull those facts out. You guys know how I do. Make sure you follow us, like, love, and share. And Pink, when you see this stream, please share this stream because I'm having to use my phone. Guys, before we get to NFL news, we got like the news that everybody is talking about. This is just explosive to no level, guys. I'm talking about none other than the NBA scandal that's going down right now involving federal indictments, y'all, that were unsealed on yesterday that charged several high profile league officials, figures in connection with illegal gambling and rigged poker games tied to organized crime. Now, you guys, just for a small plug before I let the guys start talking about this, organized crime means RICO, the Racketeering Informational Corruption Act, and it carries minimum mandatory time in custody, and feds is day for day. They're talking about mob affiliations, guys. I mean, this thing is really, really big. Chauncey Billups, one of the names that was released. Terry Rozier. Um, I mean, big names. Damon Jones. And these federal indictments that have come down have been like, I don't know, guys. For me, I mean, these are Hall of Famer guys tied up with this. And then, um, in addition to that, there was a former ref who was convicted of rigging games in the past. I'm gonna probably mispronounce his name. Daunty, is it Daunty, guys? Terry Daunty.
Tim Donaghy.
Um, yes, him. He is supposedly somewhere mixed in all of this. The reason why all this came about, a rat. Let's just call it what it is. And so now three Eastern Michigan ball players who are no longer eligible anyway have been wrapped up in some type of gambling with their sport. And so this thing is extremely big. And y'all, they're talking about more names will be mixed up in this before we're all said and done. I'm going to let you guys take it from here while I work on sharing some of these screens. What's up, Bernard and Yanza?
I'm gonna let y'all go.
All right. No idea. I don't know. I mean, kind of hurt my heart. Chauncey Billups, Chauncey Billups.
Yeah.
Done broke the wall.
Yeah, former
Mr. Big
Piston.
Shot.
So,
Former Piston.
I don't know, man. And he's obviously when he came from his court today, they released him. He had to surrender his passport and all that good stuff, which is normal, I guess, FBI federal protocol for these kind of incidences. But he is like, vehemently saying he's not guilty in the whole situation. But I'm thinking like this, dude. If the FBI arrested you, you can't. I don't know where the guilt. You can't say you're not guilty. I'm trying to figure that one out because they got something on you, obviously.
Yeah, the feds don't just bring you down without
Yeah.
having something. There's like a 92% conviction rate for the feds because they say if the feds got you, you been got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but
it's not the popo. It's not the regular police pulling up on you and arresting you. This is the FBI. So yeah, I'm sorry, Chauncey. I love you, bro, but you got caught up. Go ahead, James.
yeah, this is all alleged. Let's keep that out there, put it out there, this alleged against Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier. But with that said, I agree with you, Sonya. 92% is high. Now, mind you, Michael Jackson did beat 14 counts a few years back against the Feds. So, but that's just Michael Jackson. I don't know the situation here, and I wasn't in it. My name is Bennett, and I ain't in it. But with that said, Chauncey Billups, man, had if he's found guilty on this charges, man, it just really looks bad because he's tied in with the mob. I mean, I don't know if they had naked photos of him or something like that, but he's it's three different mob families, or actually four or five, it's five mob families, and
Yep.
they all had ties with him, and they I guess what they call the people who were victims were fish. They were fish. So virtually, they had these all different technologies on how they were able to cheat the people, the victims, they're calling them, out of all the, I mean, tens of millions of dollars in poker and rigged poker games. I mean, they had the money. I mean, the shuffler, the card shufflers that had hidden cameras in them. Not hidden cameras, but they were able to see the faces
with the
of
light,
the
with the light,
cards
the
with the lights.
lasers.
They had the table that was X-rays where you
Like
can see with the
Ocean's
cards face
12 or
down.
something.
They had also what was it? The X-ray tables, and they also had what was it? Uh, hidden cameras in the poker chip trays. So they had everything, man. It just and like you said, and if the guys lost, in order to extort me, in order to get the money out of them, make sure they were paid, they extorted them or they had violent actions.
My
And
God.
this is crazy because the crazy thing is he used a celebrity allegedly to draw people in, people that he knew, former players, like you said, potentially Kevin Garnett. I don't know if that's true or not,
They
but
have him, they released him as being on film at one of the tables.
yeah,
It's official.
wow, wow. So this really looks bad on Chauncey Billups because it's not like it's about money. Because I mean, I've heard guys say like Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, these guys like to gamble. They have money, so it's not. It's I think it's more the thrill of it, and who knows what type of ties that potentially Chauncey Billups has with the mob, or that's something they have again. Maybe they're extorting him. You know, who knows if that's the situation or not. But regardless, they don't. The FBI does not spend time like they did like since 2023 or so, just details, picking up I mean just evidence and evidence and evidence. And once they got you, man, this is they move forward. And the same thing with Terry Rozier. Made $100 million in his career as a basketball player, man. And to just sell out to get, some people he knew, don't play in the game, you tell him when he's not gonna play. Damon Jones getting information that only players and coaches are supposed to know, giving out that information. Just I don't get it, but I kind of blame also the NBA and along with other sports venues for just getting themselves in bed with this gambling in the first place because they just opened the door for this. But these guys got to be culpable if they're guilty. If they're this is all alleged. If they're guilty, they got to pay the consequences. And from what I understand, it's no more than 20 years. But time, like Sonya said, will be served if they're guilty.
Yeah, no more is a stretch because look at how old these guys already are. That's a life sentence for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like
And the
seriously.
and just to put in the crime families that were involved, were the Bonanno crime family, the Gambino crime family,
Oh my God.
and a Genovese crime family. So there you go.
The
The
lot of people
Gambinos
about
by
it.
The
themselves.
Gambinos, yes.
Yes. The
And
Gambinos.
don't forget about the fettuccines and the tortellinis. Excuse me, I was
Yeah,
making
and
a
the
joke. Sorry.
DeVitos
And the DeVitos.
and tortellinis.
Mhm.
This is wild. What you think, Kevin?
I mean, it's been gotten crazy. I mean, the whole gambling thing in general, like even with these NBA players, like I'm not saying that every NBA player, but it's really tarnishing the league
That
because you
That
look at a
part.
lot of these guys, like, you see them missing shots. They're like, nah, he don't normally miss that type of shot. And it's like, or
Hmm.
you see them take themselves out of games like Terry Rozier did, and you just sitting there looking like, okay. And even with some of these refs, I
Hmm.
mean, you calling a ticky tack foul on one end, and then the other end, it's like you letting it go. It's like, are you point shaving? What's going on here? Like,
Hmm.
you know, it's been gotten out of hand, and with the sport and like with the sports betting being millions and millions of dollars and in sports betting that's going on, that's moving around, moving and shaking. It's gonna be more names that's gonna drop before the end of the year. I mean, I could tell you that much.
I mean, do you guys think this is one of these situations? Because in my mind, and as a person, that's never had that much money, probably will never have that much money in my life. Do you guys think that this is like these guys are so used to making money that once they come out the league, they just have this love for money that they need this money and they're not getting it from retirement, so they go and come up with these schemes, or is this just pure greed? I mean, it's greed regardless, but at the end of the day, like, is this their reasoning? Do you guys think that?
It's
I
starting
know
to
I
look a
couldn't
little bit
speak
like
for any
greed.
of them because I don't make that type of money, so I couldn't give you the ins and outs of that whole thing. I know there's people that say, well, basically the reason why some of these folks are getting caught is because they come from a poor background, and I think that's kind of I think, and as Mad Yinzer was pointing out, we were stereotyping. I think that's a stereotypical thing because this is not just
Hmm.
people of color that are involved. These are white folks too, and
Yeah.
Hispanic folks and everything. Like, yes, it's a whole bunch of people that are involved in that. So um, it's just, I don't know, man.
And man, for Bad Ninjas, these are just jokes, my man. And I mean, I would say jokes about anybody. They all know I hit everybody up. With that said, um, I really think that it's 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 more so. It's not like colorism or it's not like classism. It's more so just
Mm-hmm.
that endorphin. I think people who love to be competitive, that's just one extra thing to add to the mix. That's just it. And I mean, look at Michael Jordan again, had all the money in the world, still has all the money in the world. Charles Barkley said he may lose 5 to 10 million a year because they just love to do it. And it has nothing to do with the color of their skin. I think it's just gambling
All of that money.
first of all, it could be an addiction and it can also be a competitive addiction. I think people just like to win. That's just it.
This is just
What do you
sad. I
know,
But
mean,
Robbie?
all I can think about is I agree with, I don't remember which one of you all said it because I was backstage sharing the video. So sorry the camera went down. I had to do some dual roles. I'm really sad, honestly. Not just because they were caught. I'm sad for our future young men that had aspirations of being professional athletes, and that our generation um is the one that's now tarnished this. And what does that say? I mean, I know you're not really supposed to, at least according to my faith and a lot of people's faith, you don't put men above anybody because men are fallible. They can always make mistakes. But it just is a really a sad day in professional sports. And I think it was Kevin that said it's gonna be some more names. And guess what, guys? This is not gonna stop at the NBA. That's what's the saddest part of all. We saw this with Shohei Otani, and okay, got whatever his interpreter, blah blah blah. We see this, with Pete Rose. We've seen parts of this in different sports over the years. But to have the amount of gentlemen that are named out just within a day, and to know that more heads are going to roll, and you got five mafia families right there, that's not the only thing that's going to happen. This thing could come down to life and death because crime mobs do not play about their money. They don't care about you, as they say, toting no sentence. Those guys are no longer safe. They are no longer safe in or outside of confinement because those crime mobs stretch long. We hear about them from 50, 60 years ago, and they're still relevant today. Why? Because it has continued on from generation to generation. And just like those names are still tied in now, and some of those old crime mobsters have long since left this earth, this is a pattern. This is an infiltration. It has taken away baseball used to be America's favorite pastime. We are tarnishing, not we as us here or us in the audience, but as a whole, tarnishing the image that myself, JTrain, B Strilla, Kevin, even you, I'm sure, grew up with aspirations of looking at the games, at least having an idol from these teams, perhaps having dreams of playing sports because you wanted to be like this person because they just had it all. They were successful on the court. They had the award-winning white pearly smile. And now we're seeing this tarnish. What's up, Pink? I just gave you a shout out, boo, and thank you for letting me share on your platform too. I mean, it's just it's horrible and it's sad because if sports has always been the out for kids. It's always been that one thing that helped them get, their grades right in school because they wanted to play sports, so they had to have their grades right. And it also kept a lot of them out of trouble. Like it's been a lot of help for inner city youth. Now what?
Yeah,
So
the
go
integrity of the
ahead.
games.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
that's the
it.
big thing. It's the
Well, it hasn't been brought into the full front, but for the last couple of years, and I blame all the sports, NFL, NBA, hockey, even baseball. Dave brought sports betting into their bosom.
Mhm.
So it's you're gonna roll with that, and the force upon these players about, oh well, you can't bet on games. The biggest hypocrisy of that whole situation. It's just it's now you just can't even trust sports. It's going to get to a point you can't trust sports anymore because you don't know what referee is out there, calling back, and I had to agree with Keith on one of the shows that we were talking about earlier. He said that, people had these big conspiracy theories about the NFL picking teams that they want. And it's not the NFL, it's the refs.
Mhm.
Whoever's paying them the most money because,
Mhm.
they don't really get that paid that much by the NFL, the ref game. So, that would be the easiest targets right there because you really can't pay one player from the NFL because it's a 22-man team. So it's hard to do that unless you pay the whole team off. And I don't think that's going to ever happen, but it's just bad. It's getting worse. I think
now.
they said from 2000 to 2023, there was 2 indictments based on betting. From 2023 to now, 25 indictments.
Oh
That's telling you
wow.
how bad it's getting.
Let me say this: gambling has been around forever. It has been around forever. It's been around since they were trying to figure out the odds with how many stones it would take for David to take down Goliath
Mhm.
with one smooth stone. So that's just how long gambling has been. It's been around way, way back. My point is, in bringing that up, is that the difference now, when we talk about sports, we talk about gambling, we talk about Pete Rose. There was no internet. There was no cell phones, where you can just have it at your whim, just pressing the button, going directly to any one of those sites. And it's not just for adults. You got kids in middle school who can bet prop bets. And my point in bringing that up again is how numb have we become?
Mhm.
How numb will you
Desensitized.
become when you're that young and desensitized to where, I mean, you look at like porn, anything that you can have at your whim is just there. So this is going to be no different. It's going to be no different. And it's legalized. It's been legalized to do. I mean, they know the consequences of it. And like you said, B, it's a bit hypocritical to say that you don't want anything to do with these players. You're probably going to, I mean, the question is whether or not if Chauncey Billups is found guilty, are you going to ban him from the Hall of Fame? Are you going to ban him away from basketball? Are you going to ban Terry Rozier from basketball? Damon Jones? It's a possibility. It's a great possibility.
They've
But
already been partially suspended right now from of any
right,
NBA
they're on,
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
they're on leave right now. Yes, of course, until they figure out how this turns out. But with that said, again, they're going to keep the train rolling. They haven't put any pause on gambling right now. They hadn't put. I mean, that's going to continue because it's too much of a moneymaker. It's a machine, and so the unfortunate part about it is just that they always put it out there. Be safe with or gamble responsible.
Responsible.
That's BS. That's
Mhm.
Yeah,
total
that's
BS. Because
all.
there's no such thing as responsible. I
Mhm,
mean, it's just yep,
mhm.
yep. Uh, so it's just it's just hardening. But this is not something we didn't see coming. And like y'all said, all y'all said, those aren't the last names to come up. There's going to be more names coming.
Yeah, and of
It's just
course,
unfortunate.
yeah, I actually mentioned Kevin Garnett when we first started, Bernard, but thanks for reiterating that because that was in about an hour ago. The NFL is actually reeling in with this, guys, because they sent a memo out to all 32 teams today letting them know after this bombshell expose, these two massive indictments. And see, these cannot be the only names. These are just the only names we know about right now. Because two indictments means there's a list of names. So the NFL sent their memo out today, reminding all of its players to basically exercise caution because they're reinforcing players, coaches, staff, and the league as a whole about the adhering to the NFL's gambling policy. But JTrain, I agree with you. Who are you to introduce this to fans and then tell someone that's not in it to tell a player that when you're not in uniform, it's still not okay for you to gamble? Because I think these guys are gambling on games that are not necessarily their games. They may be on a bye week or whatever. Look at what happened with Calvin Ridley. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
He was gambling. Kevin, you remember that thing? He was with the Falcons when it happened. Then went to Jacksonville,
Hmm.
correct?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I remember. I was
Mm-hmm.
just about to mention that.
Go ahead. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say because he was suspended for 10 games for that because he was
Sure
doing
was.
that during his mental health, his mental health
Break.
issue,
Mm-hmm.
break, and it was an unfortunate situation, and we traded him. I mean, can't be doing that, man. I mean, he got
Yeah,
suspended for
we
what? I believe it was either 10 games to a year. I believe it might have been a year, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
But
it was a long time because I just remember thinking this dude is supposed to be on a health break,
hmm
like a medical leave, and you out there, you're not missing a beat. I just felt like, it was shocking to me. And to be honest, even though they traded him and then he ended up going on to Tennessee, and I don't even remember where he is now, but he just hasn't been the same
he's
production
still with
wise.
Tennessee,
He's
Okay.
on
mhm,
IR. He's on IR.
about to get
mhm.
traded.
Yeah.
Again, right. That's why I couldn't remember. I mean, guys, this thing is pretty serious. And like I kind of hinted around at the top of the show, it's even spilled over into NCAA. Former Eastern Michigan hoops players that are refusing to cooperate. Now, this is the thing. The feds are already telling you guys, we want your phones. They went in, they gave up their phones at first. It's Jalen Terry, Deshaun Nelson, and Jalen Billingsley. All of these guys have exhausted their college eligibility last season, but it's not too late for them to come for you because what people don't realize, the feds doesn't have a time expiration of indicting you. Like for the state, for those of you who I don't know, certain crimes carry a it's called the oh my God, I'm having a brain freeze here. Anyway, it's a time of expiration that they can bring charges for you. But when that time is passed, they can no longer prosecute you. Now, certain serious offenses, the ones, the deadly sins or whatever, Google them. I don't want to say them because we may get flagged for that. But nonetheless, those crimes, they can come at you at any time. If you don't believe me, ask Bill Cosby. Okay, that's a hint for you. All right, so that's one of the deadly sins. But these gentlemen was like, okay, here's our phones, blah blah blah. They made images, etc., etc. But they're like, you know what? You had our phones. We're not going to sit down and talk to you. So they've been looking into them for suspicious betting activity. Statute of limitation. Thank you, Bernard. I know this, but my brain is so overworked. Thank you, brother. Statute of limitation is what I'm talking about. And so Michigan's 82-61 loss that they had on January 14th of last season against Central Michigan. This is up in your area, B. This is where this all stems from. That these guys had gambled on this game, and now, um, your guy Tim Donaghy, however you pronounce the ex NBA ref, says, you know what? It's gonna be bigger. It's gonna be more college kids, and it's gonna be more NBA players, and it's going to spill into the NFL. And we already know the MLB is next.
Hmm. I agree.
I mean, everything goes along with that. Like I said, these major league sports and the NCAA make big money every year, and that big
Mhm.
money is stemmed from betting too. So don't think that these leagues don't get a little bit of that money from the bettors from Las Vegas. Don't think that they get that money. They get some of that money. That's the reason why the NFL pushes so much. And then you see all these commercials on TV in between. When the game stops, you see these better commercials. Even on Red Zone, you'll see a break and you'll see a betters commercial on there. I mean, it's like, dude, I mean, you can stuff it in your face all the time, and then you got players out there that want to do the same thing. It's like, hey, how come we can't bet? You know what I'm saying? You don't have to bet on football. You'd be a football player and bet on basketball, but they don't even allow them to do that. And that's where all this comes into. So that's a big mess.
Sports Illustrated came out with an article shortly before we hit the air, speaking on this, saying that others are charged in connection to this scandal. There's also suspects attempting of fixing college games in the NCAA, the SEC, all of the conferences are involved. They said a federal investigation has been continued in that, and they're saying even in September, the NCAA announced that they were investigating gambling related infraction cases involving 13 players at different schools. The players were not named, but their former schools were those that we talked about: Michigan, Temple, Arizona State, New Orleans, LSU, North Carolina A&T, Mississippi Valley State, and others. So this thing
Mhm.
is really big, really sad. And this is coming from Sports Illustrated. And so it's gonna be something definitely we have to keep an eye on. I don't know. You guys remember years ago when there was like when the NFL was on a pause because the players were protesting and what have you. And we saw that because I think it was the pay and stuff like that. MLB held out, all that stuff. If this thing goes real crazy, guys, we may have an interruption of sports across the board. What do y'all think?
I wouldn't be surprised. I
I
really
mean,
would.
unless the FBI stops it, there's not going to be no interruption in sports. Still making the money. Greed conquers all. You still on mute there, James.
Yeah, it's too much money. I was just repeating what you
Yeah.
said. This is way too much money to. It's such a machine. There's no way they can stop that.
Mm-hmm. And that's, like I said, it's federally authorized. That's the only way they're going to be able to stop it. Because unless the FBI comes in there, the U.S. government comes in there and shuts all that down, and that's the thing about, the mafia. Okay, you got to understand how much of the reach of the mafia is. They don't do the traditional stuff that they used to do back in the day. They have different forms of doing things now. So, but their reach is still far. You never know. I don't want to make accusations. I'm not here to do that. It would be irresponsible to do that, but you don't know where all the mafia is at. So that's the whole thing. You don't know where they could be at, where they're planted at, what kind of position they have in this country. It's just bad.
Yeah, they move real quiet,
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah.
Mafia, yeah, they definitely move quiet. They own those businesses, those trucking companies, stuff like that. They just
Yeah.
under the
Yeah.
radar,
Yeah. That's why it's so hard a lot of people say that the FBI is not doing a really good job. The FBI has been like trying to squash the mafia for such a long time, but it's hard to get in all the nooks and crannies of society to get, the mafia. Some of them tread so quietly out there. It's just they do such a great job at their illegal activities where they can not be, they don't get tarnished or anything like that. They can't, nobody can find them, and you got to be under a microscope to find them. So
yeah, they ain't
it's,
flashy.
it's
They don't.
yeah,
They
they ain't
don't wear.
flashy. Yeah.
They don't wear the jewelry. They don't
Yep.
wear the big watches. They
Be just
don't
like
drive
me
the
wearing a hoodie.
fanciest of fanciest cars. They still drive
Right.
nice cars, but it ain't the fanciest of nice cars.
Yeah, some of them don't even do that and drive Hyundais and little stuff
E-
like that, and
exactly.
be in
Okay,
a
so
hoodie
it
like me.
was JTrain. Hey guys, kept hearing a lot of feedback, so I thought it was me, but I guess it was JTrain, maybe.
I don't know. He just kind of disappeared off the screen. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't nothing, man. Anyway, yeah, guys. So I mean, we're gonna keep an eye on all this stuff. This is, of course, news that nobody wants to hear, but it's unfortunately happening. And I mean, I don't know, guys. Like I said, no one's infallible. But at the same time, you are supposed to be at a higher standard when you've made all these billions of dollars and millions of dollars at fans, exposure, and this is what you do. And I feel like all these guys can have money, and at this point, it has to be some sense of greed. You've already made all this money in the league. You either didn't invest properly, or you just greedy at this point. But like, it's crazy. And let's think about it. People really look at gambling like there's no victims, but it really is. Like, at the end of the day, you are now compromising the integrity of a century old sport now this will always be forever remembered.
Oh yeah, without question.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about guys in general that make a lot of money, I can't speak to the women that are professional and make money, but to the men that make money, there's three things that they get caught up in if they're not strong-minded, and that's gambling, women, and drugs. Those are the three things.
Yep.
So it's yeah. Ask Shannon Sharp.
Yeah.
So I mean, everybody has their vices, and unfortunately, if you make a lot of money, you figure that you can try those vices because you make a lot of money and you're a well-known person, and you don't think nothing's going to stop you. It's just that I don't understand why you continue to see people stop if you're an athlete and you still continue to do it. Obviously, your mind shut off at one certain point in your life. So I'm not saying that you're unintelligent, but those are kind of dumb moves. I'm just saying.
Very dumb. And so we'll of course keep an eye out on that. And JTrain is coming back just in time for us to start our next segment, which is NFL. Jay, before we go on, did you have any closing thoughts on this scandal? I wanted to get those before we hopped over.
Just many prayers, and I hope nobody goes to jail. But I mean, that's not likely.
Yeah, that's a wrap. Now we can that.
I know one thing: none of us on here are going to go to jail for that kind of stuff.
Thank
Saved.
Yes, I have no mob ties.
Right.
No, I don't either.
All right, so let's spin on over to our next segment, which is the NFL. Welcome to that. If you're just joining us, welcome to our platform. Bistrilla, Kevin, JTrain, and myself. This is Friday Night with the Fellaz, and I'm your host, Sonja. All right, so we just talked about all the NBA stuff that we had to get that out, guys, because that has been like all day, all yesterday, and we bring you guys the hype. So shout out to you, JTrain, for making sure we stayed on point with bringing that up tonight. And let's talk about last night's game, the Vikings and Chargers, you guys. I mean, I was disappointed. Why are the Vikings not playing JJ McCarthy at this point?
Like,
he's hurt. They said he was supposed to be coming back. They said that they were like,
he's coming back. He's coming back against the Lions, which is dumb, but whatever. I mean, their offensive line is tore up from the floor up. They have no running game. Their running game is bulimic. Their defense is failing them now because obviously they can't stop anybody. So they're bringing him back. At this point, they just need to bring in the quarterback from Minnesota because they can't do much worse than what they're doing right now with Carson Wentz and JJ McCarthy. Just get that guy in there because they're going against the Lions. It's a division game. It's in Detroit. Detroit's going to try to murder.
They should try to get
Looking
Kirk
for
Cousins back.
trying to beat them down. That's what they're trying to
They should
do.
get
So
Kirk Cousins back.
they're gonna hurt somebody,
I feel
Somebody
bad
hurt.
for Carson Wentz because he just literally was wincing the entire game. He was hurt. He was hit multiple times. I mean, he's a Super Bowl winner. Let's be clear. I really felt bad for him because he was taking, well, by default when he was with the Eagles.
Yes.
He went down, but still, you guys, he's part of the team. He gets a ring. You get a ring. You get a ring. So he, for that purpose. But I mean, they needed at this point call Kirk Cousins. Kirk's been trying to get up out of Atlanta anyway. He could probably do him a little bit better. Just what you think, Kevin?
Yeah, we might use him this weekend though, because Michael Penix he's questionable for Sunday.
What? Why? Oh, that's breaking news. What done happened to him?
He hurt his foot. So
how long that gonna be?
Limited participation in the practice.
It's no telling. But
that's
Kirk
he might be fine.
Tape Sunday. So
Nah, he trying to take a break because he see Bryce taking a little break. That's what that is. Because Bryce got a high ankle sprain. Ain't nothing wrong with Penix. Ain't nothing wrong with him. He getting ready for November 16th.
Well, the Falcons do they got an ace in their pocket. So that's you pay a quarterback that much money and he's gonna sit on the bench. At least that if your starter goes down, you got a really good player that will back him up.
Backup that could start. Yeah.
Well, all right. And by the way, Bernard, I saw your comment. You didn't tell me about that earlier when you were talking about how confident you all are going to be beating these Fins, but we'll talk about that in a moment. All right. So let's get to our 1:00 games. Of course, if you all missed it, the Chargers ran all over the Vikings. I mean, they electrocuted them up and down. That boat was sunk and underwater. Like it just barrels of lightning everywhere. Just horrible game. Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah, if he balls out, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if Raheem. I don't think Raheem would get fired. I think that would be something that falls upon the management because
Falcon fans let me tell you, all week long I've been hearing Falcon fans coming up with their excuses already. This is what they do. They see a loss coming. I'm sorry, Kevin. This had nothing to do with you, Kevin. I'm sorry. Okay, so let me apologize in advance. I can provide screenshots right now from 3 different Falcon fans that I've texted with this week that are not Kevin. And they all was like, oh, yeah, we sick of Morris, blah, blah, blah. So it started out me talking about how Bijan Robinson was dressed and how they never need to talk about Cam Newton and what he was dressed like when he played for the Panthers because he never came out with drawers and loafers on. But Bijan did. And I like Bijan, but that's what he looked like. Okay, so they came back and was like, every one of them, and neither of these people know each other. They all came back and was like, you know what? We better win Sunday, or we want Morris out of there. So I'm thinking, but I'm thinking Penix is starting. Kevin just broke the news to me because I didn't even know. I don't keep up with the buzzers like that. I keep them where they
gonna end up starting.
Yeah. Well, now they on the comments, and I did talk to Bernard this morning on the phone, and he say Nathan about Penix not playing. So now they getting their excuses ready, JTrain, because they know this L is coming, so it's gonna be on the coach now that they about to lose. This is what they do, P. This is what they do in the South. They get it ready.
The way Kevin was moving around with that camera, he was trying to duck all them strays you were throwing at him.
Oh no. I'm watching this Hawks game and it's just getting like intense. You know what I mean?
We just appreciate your time, Kevin, because we know you are so busy. We just appreciate you carving out a few moments. I mean, wow.
Okay. Since we own my Falcons, everybody want to sit here and blame Raheem. I'm blaming. We got a young quarterback. We're going through those growing pains with a young quarterback. It is what it is. Like people need to just sit back and relax. I mean, like there's a lot of.
You think I don't know? You think I don't know?
That's what I'm saying. You're going through growing pains with a young quarterback. It's one thing when you have a veteran in there, but we have a young quarterback. He's out there. He's making his 10th start this Sunday coming up. It's like people need to just sit back and relax. I understand. I want to make the playoffs too. We ain't been to the playoffs in about 19 years. So trust me, I want to go to the playoffs. But at the same time, man, I want our young quarterback to thrive, man. Like, he was missing throws this past Sunday. I'll say it like that. People want to blame coaching. He was missing the throws last Sunday. The throw he threw to Mooney, the intentional grounding right before the half. I mean, it's just plays like that. So I can't sit here and blame like Raheem for that. Like, it's a young quarterback. I mean,
I think that
that's just
I
my
think the
opinion.
thing looking from the outside into the NFC South, Tampa Bay is stable because they have a stable quarterback.
Not you from
Houston,
the north. Not you from the north looking down with your nose down at the south.
no,
I mean,
that's
the Panthers are
not what
one
I'm.
game. The
I said
Panthers
looking
are one
outside,
game.
looking
One
in.
game. Put that comment up, B, that Pink Fan Fur just said to Kevin. I want him to be seeing it while he's watching. That's for you, Kevin. That's a comment for you. The Panthers are one game behind the Bucks. That's all that needs to be said on that. Let's move forward a little bit. We'll come back to these other teams in a minute. Dolphins at Falcons that's the first game. Sorry, unfortunately. 1:00. This is a get right game for the Dolphins. They have to win. Not sure what's going on with Tua Tagovailoa, but he's got to win and stop turning the balls over, because if he does what he's been doing in week 6 and 7, it's going to be an explosive runaway game for the Atlanta Falcons, even with y'all bringing Kirk Cousins in, even with Kirk Cousins there. Bills at Panthers is the next game, of course. Panthers are undefeated at home. We are trying to remain that way. Bills just suffered their loss to another NFC contender, which would be the Atlanta Falcons on the road, and now they're in Charlotte. And the Panthers are looking forward to keeping that momentum going and increasing to 5-3. The Bills have looked vulnerable. Their O-line has been suffering. They're pretty banged up on both sides of the ball a little bit. And so this could be a classic trap game. And this is according to the pundits, not me. This could be a trap game for the Bills. Even with Andy Dalton, of course, Bryce Young will be out with this high ankle sprain for this game. But Andy is no buster, whatever.
Yeah, I got to push
Yeah,
back
yeah,
on
yeah.
that because this is not a trap game for Buffalo. If you lost 2 in a row, there's no such thing as a trap game. They're getting their defensive players back too this week.
They're on the road though. They don't have the
That
best.
don't mean nothing. Yeah, it don't mean nothing.
I got Buffalo.
Obviously they think they're good enough because they got a 7.5 point
The same ones
favorite.
that sat up here and talked to me last week about the Jets. Let's move on because you all were wrong except for JTrain.
Well, I gotta add my pick in. Let me add my pick in. I've been picking the Panthers for the past couple of weeks because I just been seeing it like they've been believing. But they gotta treat me like a Luther Vandross song. They gotta make me a believer. They gotta make me a believer.
This
And
game will be that.
the way you would, that's how you would make me a believer. But until then, I'm gonna have to pick the Bills, just because if you beat the Bills going forward, I will say the Panthers are for real, and they coming for everybody.
Who did
But you
you
got to
pick
beat
when
you
you
got,
played Atlanta? Who did you pick? You picked
The
Atlanta
oh, I
Bills.
mean,
in the beginning.
Atlanta and Miami.
No, when Atlanta and the Panthers played, who did you pick?
I didn't pick. I don't think I even picked on it. No, no, I picked. I think I picked Atlanta.
Yeah, everybody did.
Sonya.
We love when
But
people bet
but
against
Buffalo.
us.
but the last game I did pick. I picked the Panthers because no, I picked because of the running game and because of your running game. That was the
Yeah,
main reason.
we got on here talking about the Jets got to win one game and it's gonna be it. So, like I said, we love when people bet against us. Keep all that going because we proving the naysayers quiet. Just like Fern, if you're watching, you ain't been on here yet, and you were yickety yak all spring long, not even during the season, about how the Panthers defense was this, that, and the third, and we ain't even seen you. Maybe because the Giants only won 2 games. I'm just saying. All right, next game up is the Bears at Ravens. Lamar Jackson is still out, and this is a different team.
No,
No.
he's
He's
back.
playing.
Practice
He's
today.
back. He's playing. He's
As of
playing.
they announced that today.
He was
Yeah, he's been
full
limited
practice
practice.
today.
Yeah,
No, he
he's
wasn't even limited.
questionable. He's playing.
He was full practice.
Because
He was full practice.
yesterday they had not released that, and that's when I ran all my information. So great, that's gonna be a difference maker because the Bears, if not, was going to have a field day down in Baltimore. But with Lamar being back, look for it. Lamar is the team by himself. They are 1-5, y'all.
And
1-5.
Roquan Smith is coming back. They're getting a couple of cornerbacks back on Baltimore too. Chicago
And the Bears are without 3 of their starting corners right now too.
Yep.
So
And the Bears don't have very good rush defense either. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson.
King.
I think I'm pretty safe in saying Baltimore to win that game.
Yeah,
I got Baltimore too.
Well, with Lamar back, I will as well. Next game, and I need to go in and change my pick because I thought Lamar was out on my actual fantasy. Next game is the big game. This game could be a catch for either team because sometimes it's not always the strongest team that wins, at least with these two. That's the Buccaneers and Saints game. NFC South matchup rivalry is in the big NO. Saints are 1-6 and just not where they need to be. Of course, Rattler looking a little rattled, but they got all the pieces they need. I said this in my show Wednesday. They're just, it's not that they need any type of rebuild. They're just trying to acclimate where they are. They got a new coach, they got everything they need. They got new Gatorade kegs, everything that the Saints need to start from scratch. So
That was wrong.
they just and they just need to try to keep pace in the division. So I'm gonna pick the Saints for the upset Sunday. Plus, I need the Bucks to lose anyway. But this game, Tampa Bay normally should win. But you guys know how the Saints get down. JTrain, I'm gonna start with you because this is your squad.
Well, contrary to what you're saying, they are in a rebuild. They got Chris Olave, they got Rashid Shaheed, Alvin Kamara's looking every bit of 30 right now. Olave is doing better. I mean, they lost their starting center, Pro Bowl center, that for the season. So that's going to hurt because, if you remember the first two games of last season, they were balling out. Then Eric McCoy went down, and then it was just downhill from there. So that's going to be a real letdown for them. Also, they lost what's the running back, Kendra Miller, torn ACL for the season.
I dropped him. He was on my
Gone,
fantasy as a backup, and I just dropped him.
gone. So, and they just picked up another running back from Denver. They traded for a guy that was on their practice squad, and they Devin, what's the rookie? I forgot the rookie's last name out of Kansas. Devin Devin something. I
Uh,
can't
what are you talking about? The practice
out of
squad
Kansas.
guy?
The running back out of Kansas. He now he was in the game. He can block. But with that said, and you said Rattler was rattled. He had a bad. He had a not. He had a mixed game, but he had four turnovers, three interceptions, and one fumble. So that wasn't good. And a lot of it wasn't his fault when I watched the all 22. But I think Rattler is really ultimately is their future at quarterback. But unfortunately, he's in a bad situation because they're losing games. So they're probably going to want to play Tyler Shuck at some point.
Mm.
So, but in this game,
Miss Middle.
going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm going to pick my team. I'm going to pick them. The only reason I'm picking them because they got a few players on their receiving core that are out too, and so and the running back as well. So they're kind of banged up on offense, and I think we have an opportunity at home with a little luck. We may win that game. So I'll pick the Saints in a tight game against the Bucks at home and
Kevin,
an upset.
who would who would you pick, Kevin? Because it's
This
our
might
division.
sound kind of crazy, but I'm kind of like rocking with the Saints too because, like I said, like you just said, the Bucks going through a lot of injuries, and y'all play them tough all the time.
Mhm.
Uh, One thing I'm going to look at is how Spencer Rattler is going to play in this because he hasn't been playing bad. Like, I mean, I've been kind of impressed with the way he's been playing. To be honest, like he hasn't been playing awful. So, and your defense ain't really terrible.
Mm-mm.
Buccaneers, they've played in a lot of close games. The Buccaneers have, and they've been skating by the hair of their chinny chin chin.
Yep.
Let's be honest here. They skated by against the Falcons. I know y'all don't want to talk about the Falcons. They skated by against the Falcons. They skated by against Houston. I think they skated by against another team. I'm trying to sit here and remember, but they've been getting away. You know what I mean? So that's why I kind of think I wouldn't be surprised if New Orleans is that game in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, yeah, it's. I wouldn't be surprised. I just wouldn't.
B, what you
Yeah.
That's just
think?
me.
I mean, I like New Orleans. New Orleans is going to play. They played everybody tough. The only team I didn't see them play tough against was Seattle. Other than that, they played every team tough. And I think that they're going to do the same thing to Tampa Bay. I just don't think New Orleans has enough to beat Tampa Bay right now. Even with Tampa Bay and their injury problems on offense, You're not going to have Godwin. You're not going to have Irving. It depends on how they do against the run because they still got White back there, and I mean, they're a 3.5-point favorite. Tampa Bay is, but I would take Tampa Bay and take the points because there's no way they're going to be. It's going to come down to it's going to be like a point either way, like a field goal either way is going to win this game. So.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to probably come down to a field goal, maybe a touchdown, but not a whole lot. Let's get through because we got about 8 minutes, and I do want to plug something else in before we hop off. The Sunday night game, I know you guys are on a bye this week. I don't see one for you guys. Nope. Cowboys and Broncos is the next 1:00 game. That Cowboys offense, I think they scored like 44 points against the Commanders without Jalen is bad right now. They are literally bad news bears for real, no pun intended. Cowboys at Broncos. Broncos coming off this nail-biting win that they just had against New York. That game, I don't know. That's going to be an offense versus a defense matchup. But this is going to look and see if Dallas really has the offense to travel and be in a tough environment. Plug for the Panthers. We took care of that in Carolina, so they didn't travel well with us. So that game is coming up. But the big game that everybody's talking about is a Sunday night game, y'all. Aaron Rodgers versus, and I say Aaron Rodgers, but it's the Steelers versus the Packers. Aaron Rodgers versus his old team, his old people, blah, blah, blah. This game is in Pittsburgh. If Aaron wins this game, he will become the 5th quarterback to defeat all 32 teams, basically. He joins Brett Favre, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and there's one more up there.
Manning.
Peyton Manning that have beat all 32 teams because you have to do that. You got to go to another team to beat your old team. So everybody's going to be looking at this game. It's going to be very emotional because, you got a lot of fans that are just Rodgers fans that are still in Green Bay. And then, of course, you got Steelers that are looking to make a dent in this game. But this game is going to be pretty big. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
Y'all go because
I'm gonna
give you some straight up NFC North hates for real.
Yeah, so despite your feelings, because y'all know I don't really care for Aaron Rodgers, the fact that this game is going to be highly anticipated, highly watched, it's a Sunday night game. I mean, this is going to be one of those games that people do watch just to see if Aaron could pull this off and get amongst these elite gentlemen, if nothing else, right?
He could. But I just think that man, you seen that game that Michael Parsons had this weekend, 3-sack game. When he wants to, man, he could turn it on. He could be a monster, and I think he's going to want to shut. He don't want to be on his watch to have somebody come and say they beat all 32 teams. So I'm going to give the edge to the Packers in this one away, and they're going to win.
Yeah, I feel like too. I mean, guys, we're talking about 40-year-old quarterbacks. Another name, Joe Flacco. He's been playing lights out. I mean, he literally joins the ranks. First NFL player at his age in NFL history to have 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions for 4 different franchises now. I mean, this dude is really the consummate quarterback. Like you need a quarterback. Just call him up. He's at home watching TV, eating marshmallows or whatever, ready to be called and in shape to come back and play for the NFL. I mean, I'm super impressed by him.
Marshmallows. Okay.
Yeah, nice toasty fall treat. And another quarterback that's flourishing is Daniel Jones. Now that he's moved on away from the Giants, I'm beginning to think the Giants were the problem. I really hope you're watching, Fern. He's really showed us talent that we've never seen before. So
that's Indiana Jones.
Yeah, he's been renamed from mac and cheese.
And every time you say it, you gotta play the music in the background.
So lots of big games coming up this week. As we said, B is on a bye. And their next game is the following Sunday. And that will actually, this Sunday is our last October game, guys. We are literally over half after this week. We'll be halfway through the season. November is here, the holiday season, and all when everybody's trying to really solidify their playoff contentions. It's not the time to start losing or getting injuries, but we see it. And so we're definitely going to be following those years. I want to put this small plug in. Unfortunately, and I talked about this a little bit Wednesday. Doug Martin, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer for 15 years, excuse me, from in 20 up all the way to 2016, and a Raider for 1 year. He came out of retirement, went with the Raiders. Tragically passed away in police custody in Oakland, outside of Oakland, this past week. The family released a statement through his agent saying that he was having a mental health episode and they called the police to get some help. During the process, he escaped police custody. They found him at another house that was not a residence of his. This was early in the morning hours, the evening hours, or what have you, kind of spilled over. And once they were able to apprehend him, there was a small struggle and he became unresponsive. The initial reports are, of course, they have suspended these officers that were involved and they have actually ruled it a homicide. So that's a little bit different because most of the time you see and they'll say, okay, these officers are on paid administrative leave, blah, blah, blah. We are pending the outcome of, toxicology reports as well as any autopsy reports. But this newspaper out of LA is saying it's already being deemed a homicide. And so this is very tragic. Of course, him with Vince Jackson and of course Williams just a few years ago, 21, 23, and 25, they all were in a picture together, and they all within every other year in their 30s have passed away under very tragic circumstances, especially being in their 30s. Guys, what are any thoughts on this? I mean, we have a little bit of time to talk about it, but everybody's been calling for these tapes, the release of the film, the footage.
And also shout out to Kyron Lacey, who was found not guilty of those. I mean, exonerated of any of that wrongdoing
Mhm.
as well.
72
And rest in peace, Cox.
72 seconds behind the accident. I thought I might have mentioned that on my Wednesday show last week, and I forgot to mention it here. Thanks for that, JTrain. LSU standout should have been with us. That young man ended up unaliving himself because of the magnitude of this case. And his lawyer, literally, they had surveillance via camera, traffic cam, proved he was a whole minute and 12 seconds behind the accident itself. Impossible for him to have even been involved in a collision. And so this is one of those situations, guys. We have to look at the justice system for what it is. It is not just. It's always, and it just lets you see athletes are still under the same supposition as other minorities are.
Yeah, cops. I mean, when you, it doesn't make a difference if you're black in this country and you make a bunch of money and your name is well known. In police eyes, you're still black. And unfortunately, for the good police that are out there, you have those ones that are out there that just don't know how to handle themselves appropriately. They don't protect and serve. They're out there gallivanting like they got some kind of power. And that's not what police are for.
Right.
Their objective is to protect and serve. And they're not doing their job. And when they do that, they need to get put under that microscope and they need to get put in jail for that kind of stuff. Now, on Martin's case, I would think that because of his mental instability, I think what they're going to do is if they do an autopsy on him, he might have CTE.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to all those guys.
Right.
So sad. Kevin, your thoughts?
Muscle hamster, man. That's tragic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm praying for his family. I pray that they find peace, but that's just an unfortunate situation there. I mean, like I said, it's just not like I said. It's just an unfortunate situation. I pray the best for his family.
Yeah, really sad situation. To not end on such a melancholy note here, I do want to add that there was a comment by Pink. Pink, thanks for joining us. She said she wants everybody to win except the Aints and the Birds. No, we need the Aints to win, Pink, because we need Tampa Bay to go down.
And as
Um,
far as the Aints, I'll tell them no, they don't need to win. But the Saints, yeah, they'll win, not the Aints.
Guys, it's been fun. Always, Kevin, thanks for rejoining us. We miss you on Fridays. Be Strilla, JTrain, and myself, as always. Make sure you guys like, love, and share. And tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., there's a debate show with JTrain, Be Strilla, and Jack Hirsch. Sunday morning is the big sports show, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time till 10 a.m. Get all your pregame news, latest injuries, latest who's going and coming and who's activated right here. And thank you guys for always joining us tonight. Everybody have a great weekend and be blessed. Keep pounding. Go Panthers.